All right.
Hey,
special
how are
day.
ya?
It's a special day. We're not at Stevenson Ranch, which is usually wherever the hell we are in the world. It's my house. Usually we do pods, but I got one of my favorite country artists in the world with us tonight. Hardy, make some noise for Hardy in the gallery. Can I get a little
Hey,
applause
how
for
are
that?
ya?
Seriously, I think when I first came in contact with you, we were doing the Bellina Cup, which is probably a sore subject for you.
Bro,
He's already sick about it.
the Nelk boys got in our head, dude.
They did.
I will take that. I will die on that hill.
They're
Our
good at
table,
it, man.
we measured it with a tape measure. It was the legal, it was right at 7 feet.
Yep.
We destroyed them the first game, and then they beat us twice in a row because they said that they were like, take 3 steps back because your table.
What the Nelk boys do.
They're good at it, man.
Trolls, dude.
They're finessers.
They got us.
They're finessers.
They're
What they
good
do.
at it, man.
I'll be honest, you were carrying Morgan, if I recall correctly.
I recall
correctly. I remember, who'd you guys have first in that?
Barstool.
Barstool.
Because I met, it was Marty and Dana.
Yeah.
And they actually became, I'm actually really good friends with Marty now. Which
love
is cool.
that.
That was from that thing.
Just
Yeah.
when you think about the lineup that was on that Bellina Cup,
Yeah.
when you really come back to it now,
We had a good one. Who was in it?
crazy
It was-
lineup.
Gronk was in there.
MGK was in there.
MGK.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Amendola, I
Kane.
think.
I played Kane first
Kane
round.
was in there.
Dragged him across the.
Who won?
dragged
You
him-
win?
We
Yeah.
won it.
Damn, dude.
Crazy thing
I'm
to
pissed
do.
you weren't following and watching.
I can't remember. I think I was just so butthurt, dude. I just was like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
watch
you
anymore.
had that lefty line drive shot. It just
Yeah.
was nails.
Precision,
It was
dude.
nails. He had 0 arc, just right into the cup.
Hey, he saw an opening, he's going for it.
Yeah, he did. But since I think that's where we initially connected on that.
Yeah.
I had Morgan on there and you were his teammate. But seriously, I want to say I started working with Charlie Handsome at the time. Shout out Charlie. He's an incredible musician, producer, songwriter. But he played me a record that to this day, I feel like is probably I can't recall a time where I've been moved by a record as quickly as a rock.
Oh yeah, dude.
I just heard the demo of it, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? What is this? Like it was, I think it was a demo version, but I'm just so attached to the demo, I still listen to it.
Yeah, dude.
It's so fucking good.
They call it demoitis.
It's so
Man,
fucking good.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I want just run through that concept real quick before we get going, because I think for the people listening who haven't heard this record, go check this out. But I think it's one of the better like song concepts I've heard in a long time.
Well, he's got the best.
Tell me,
You got the best pen I've seen in a
yeah,
long
thank you.
time.
I don't know if you've seen, but on this podcast, and you might have seen some on social media, but anytime people talk about like writers and who are my favorite,
Yeah.
I saw the one with Caleb Presley. That was awesome.
I was just like, because Caleb like loves my taste. He's like, who you got next? Like, what's going on? I was like, man,
He's so good for
Hardy
it.
got
That's awesome,
the best
man.
pen, man. It's crazy.
Dude, I was riding down the road and I don't even know. Sometimes like ideas like that, I was just like lost in thought and I was riding on my road and I was just thinking how like everything. Originally, my first thought was like how at one point the earth was just the earth and it was trees and rocks and there was no buildings or anything. And I just started thinking about how we've created all this stuff. And I was like, man, like metal came from like rocks and like iron ore and like the roads we're driving on are made of rock. And like, I had this crazy thought. And so I wrote down a rock in my idea and like in my phone list of ideas. And then I just jotted down like wedding ring, earth is a rock and like a few things. And I just wanted to write a song about like a typical journey through life and using a rock, I guess, as like a cornerstone for how important different types of rocks are
No, but seriously,
for periods in your life. And it sounds kind of silly, but it's just sort of an interesting thought. And I don't know like exactly how that popped
So
in
it
my
wasn't like
head.
an aha moment where you just like, you don't remember exactly where you were type of thing?
I do. I remember. Yeah. I mean, I remember exactly where I was. And I remember I had to write it down driving because I was like, you're going to forget this shit.
Yeah.
And I was turning onto the road that I live on. But
Yeah.
I just was thinking about how everything, like a lot of stuff is made out of like,
You really got me at the cemetery part.
Oh yeah, dude.
Tombstone, and then we're all just living life on a rock. So good.
Man, the music video is like one of my favorite things
It's
I've been
really
a part
good.
of, man. And when it goes in reverse at the very end,
Really
dude,
good.
None. I had that was all Justin Clough and Ben Skipworth. And they pitched me that or showed me the treatment. And I was like, dude, if y'all can pull this off, like, this is incredible. And it was all appeared to be filmed in one just fluent shot. And it was really cool.
Yeah, when you get a video, a song, any piece of art, just with I was just talking with Sam about just the importance of concept. And just when you have one of those, it's just such a lights out. It's a timeless concept. And the way it was all tied together. I mean, it's, to this day, one of my favorite country records.
Dude, thank you, man.
Yeah, for sure. But I want to get a little bit into just your start here, because from what I've heard, again, Charlie was kind of in earnest. One of my good buddies kind of put me onto you early. And you were just kind of wanted to be a songwriter. Like, they had said, like, you almost didn't want to be an artist.
Yeah, pretty much.
Really wasn't. Tell us about that a little bit. Like, how did you kind of get bullied into it just because you were just writing so many great records and they're like, hey, man, like.
I mean, I will say, like, the opportunity had presented itself, like, quite a few times. But basically, the short story part of the songwriter side was that I wanted to be an artist for like 2 seconds right when I graduated college. Mm-hmm. And then I signed a publishing deal, and I realized how awesome it was that all I had to do or got to do every day was write a song, and I could go do whatever the fuck I wanted to. And I was just like, this is awesome. I can take or leave the artist thing. And so for years, all I was doing was writing songs. And then I had gotten involved with FGL. They had me out to write. This was still before I had any hits, but they had kind of taken a chance on me and heard some of my stuff. So they had me out to write. I met Morgan through that camp because at the time FGL was managed by Big Loud. So I met Morgan, who was Big Loud, and then Chris Lane. And then fast forward like a year and a half, and I started having hits on Morgan, Chris, and FGL. Mm-hmm. And then that sparked the label's interest, and they started hearing like a lot of the demos of the songs that they were cutting and that I was singing on. And pretty much Tyler Hubbard was the first guy that was in my ear about it. And he was just like, dude, you're crazy if you don't do it. And I just was like, man, I just don't know if I want to. I know it's a lot of work, and it's like, if it really blows up, like, it's very life-changing, and sometimes that's hard to process and deal with.
Right.
So then Seth England started getting in my ear about it and asked me if I would be interested. And I said, man, I mean, I would take a look at a record deal, but I don't know. And then the biggest, I had just got done reading The Alchemist.
Great book.
Mike's about to lose it over there.
And
don't get me started with The Alchemist.
I mean, like a week after I got done reading it, and then all of this started happening. So I was thinking about opportunities and omens, and Joey Moy called me, and I didn't really know Joey at all. And I specifically remember I didn't even have his number saved, but it was a 615 number. And back in the day, like, if a 615 number called, like, I was answered, because you never know who it could have been. Yeah. So I picked it up, and he was like, dude, nobody knows that I'm calling you, but I just want you to know, if you ever wanted to put out a record, that I would love to be your producer. And dude, I was such a huge fan, like, even back like Nickelback days and Default.
Yeah.
And he did like all the rock stuff that I grew up on, and then FGL, and I was a huge fan of his production. So that was kind of the moment that I really started to consider it. And long story short, about a week later, I met with them, and they offered me a record deal, and I just pretty much said, fuck it, let's do it.
Isn't it interesting how things like that in life happen, where you read a book like The Alchemist? Is that like, when did you get into that type of stuff? Have you been a guy who reads those types of like kind of self-discovery things? Or
yeah, I love it. Probably like really 2018. Okay. I specifically remember getting into all things of that nature, manifestation, and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So in regards to like how you get started, and you say you start having hits, how old were you when you started having hits? You were, especially, I was just talking again off camera about this, but the songwriting industry itself, you were very young to be a guy that kind of came on and started writing hits. It's kind of an older thing, an older crowd.
It was for a long time.
Legendary writers who like write the fuck out of almost everything.
Dude, you're right. For when I moved to town, it was guys like Casey Beathard, Rivers Rutherford, Chris Dubois, Craig Wiseman, Rodney Clausen, and those guys were 40s to 50s. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of switched now, and there's definitely a lot of younger people coming to town. Mm-hmm. I was 28. Up Down went number 1 in 2018.
So was Up Down the first hit?
Yeah. That was my first hit.
And that's a hit.
It's a tune. It's a tune.
Yeah, that was the first one. I had one other single before that called Tyler Farr. Y'all familiar with him? He had a song called "I Should Go to Church Sometime," and it peaked at like 65. And
amazing.
yeah, I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I finally, had my break, and it didn't work out. And then that was, I think, at the end of 17, and then in the meantime, Morgan had cut Up Down, and that went in 18.
So, where are you from originally?
Mississippi.
So, where in your life? I mean, I kind of like to just paint a picture of your whole life. So we could go back a little bit before we go forward. Growing up in Mississippi, obviously, I know you love hunting and just the outdoors. And were you always a writer? Would you always pick up a guitar and write songs, even if it was? Did you always have ambitions to be an actual do it for a living?
I kind of got into it when I was like 16 or 17. I had always known how to play like literally 3 chords on the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing was, my sister was and still is a really, really good singer. And so she was really popular like in our, small town, and just with like my family and all that, because she was the singer and she was winning all the contests and doing the thing. And so I just it was kind of a stay in your lane thing. And I like never really knew that I had like any musical ability. So I didn't like explore that for a really long time. And I just played baseball and golf and like just was a kid. And then when I turned like 17, I kind of started really learning how to play guitar, and I wrote a few songs then. And then I kind of realized like I had like somewhat of a knack for it or whatever. But I will say I was a bad student, but English, I was always really, really good for whatever reason. I just understood like craft of like how to write like an essay or a short story, whatever it was. I never had a problem with English. Everything else was really hard, but so I definitely loved words and like wordplay and just that everything that comes with that.
So you're a baseball guy.
Yeah.
I played baseball.
Yeah.
You're a golf. I know Ern tells me you guys golf all the time.
Yeah, it's been a minute, but we do. I love golf.
Love it
more than anything.
So when you start writing records, how's the transition happen? You getting to Nashville?
So I was in junior college. I was 19, and at this point, I'd written like 4 songs.
Yep.
And my sister was here. She went to Nashville in 2007. And she was going to Belmont. She was going to try to be like a singer back in the day. And she pretty much hit me up and was like, hey, because I didn't know what, I was a liberal arts major, which is code for like, you have no fucking idea what you're going to do. And she called me one day or texted me and was like, hey, mom and dad, or however, she was like, I heard you've been writing some songs. And just so you know, there's an entire industry in Nashville based around writing songs. It's called publishing industry, and people get signed as songwriters to write songs for other people. And I had no idea, because just like a lot of people, I'm sure people think that like guys like Tim McGraw and Jason Aldean write every song, and they actually don't write any of them. So my mind was kind of blown. And then about a month later, myself and 3 buddies, we came up here and like just partied for the weekend and hung out and like went to bars, and like I never realized that music was like everywhere here. And it was like I called my mom on the way home, and I was like, I don't know why, but I think I need to move to Nashville and try to be a songwriter. And she was like, okay. And both my parents, they've always been super supportive. So I moved, and that was in 2010. It's almost 12 years ago.
Love that.
Awesome.
Tell us about mom and dad. What type of, what was growing up? Where in Mississippi?
Philadelphia.
Not that I don't know. I don't think I frequented Philadelphia.
Not a lot of people have been there.
Tiny town.
Yeah, it is, but it's got like some cool quirks about it. Did you ever watch? I think it might have been the first ever 30 for 30. Marcus Dupree, the best that never was. He was a running back.
Yeah,
that's Philadelphia.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then I don't know. There's a few like historical things that have happened there that are really random, and then like Marty Stewart is from there.
Yeah.
Like,
that was the Untold, right? Marty. Oh, that's Marty Fish.
Marty Stewart was like a big, still is like a big bluegrass guy.
Okay.
like Ricky Skaggs, if you've heard of him, like a very similar deal. But you would really only know him if you were like in country music. But anyway, and it randomly has 2 like giant casinos.
Hey, how are you?
Love a good casino.
Yeah.
Love the Beano.
And then we have a really big county fair. That's the most incredible thing you'll ever go to. Everything is just like a fair, but there's like this probably 700-acre area with a big fence around it, and there's 800 cabins on the property, and that kind of look like these Nashville tall and skinnies, but they're all family owned. And for 1 week out of the year, you just move into your cabin and you just drink all week. And you just party and you eat and you hang out and you like, it's hard to explain unless you go, but it's like the coolest thing ever. So it has a lot of really cool quirks about it.
Do they have have you gone back and like performed at that?
I just did last year. Yeah.
Was that like a crazy?
You got a content.
Was that a crazy moment for you?
It was wild, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
You just listed a few guys that have made it out and kind of made impacts on a bigger stage. That must be cool to go back.
It's wild, man.
So cool.
It's pretty crazy.
Where did you play? Like a big, outdoor
yeah,
spot
so
out
there's
there?
a stage, like a concrete, it's there right now. Like it's set, stage.
Right.
And it's right on the inside of a horse track. And y'all have probably seen that kind of deal. They're the same everywhere. Yep. And then, people stand or sit on the horse track to watch the show.
Right.
But yeah, they have an act Monday through Friday. And it actually goes from Thursday to the following Friday, but Monday through Friday they'll have like a regular, affordable country act, every night.
So when you go back, do you have tons of family and friends still there?
Yeah, I have 4 good friends from back home, and like they're like the guys that'll be like in my wedding.
Right.
Everybody else, like I don't know. We were always really tight, and that's the only. I mean, I never go hang out with anybody else when I go home. It's just those 4 guys, but we're all really tight.
4's a lot. Let's say you're lucky if you go through life, you got one good one that's been with you the whole way.
Yeah,
4's a lot.
Yeah, you're right. 2 of them are brothers, so it's like I'm kind of stuck with
it's a package
both
deal.
of them. Yeah, exactly.
built-in homies right there.
Yeah,
the old package deal.
Yeah.
So when things start happening for you in Nashville. I mean, I know in my situation, it was a little weird because I was a baseball guy and then the music thing happened super random. So everyone's, what the fuck? I didn't even know you what I mean?
Yeah.
When it starts happening for you, how are they, back home with her mom and dad, like, are they surprised by it? Do they know it was coming? Or I know the sister was kind of the one that we thought was going to be in the musician space.
I don't know. They were always supportive, and actually, my parents live here now. They actually live like right across the street, which is funny.
I love it. They're in Green Hills.
Yeah, they. I don't know, man. They always believed in me, and I mean, dude, they were so supportive. So like, I just don't like this last couple of years has been kind of wild. So I think everybody's still.
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Kind of getting used to it a little bit.
I mean, it's got to be a huge moment when you you write your first hit.
For sure.
Right? But then just to see where it's gone for somebody kind of, not reluctant, but not really thinking.
I would say reluctant to doing the artist thing.
Yeah. I can relate. I never saw this coming. Yeah. Just seeing what's happening in your life. At what point did it hit you like a ton of bricks? Or you seem like a very even keel guy. As the things started to kind of really take off, how has your headspace been on it all? Especially now, like being established as an artist. And bro, I think you're touring just as much. You've been a fucking road warrior.
Yeah, pretty much since we started.
Somebody who never really saw the stage for them, being where you are now. Reflect on it a little bit. It
hasn't been all like awesome. I mean, going into it not expecting, like not necessarily, not that I didn't want this, but like I guess you just not expecting all this shit has caused like some I guess you would just say like speed bumps for everybody. I mean, my family like kind of everybody's adjusting to it at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm not Elvis or anything, but like
we're
all sort of figuring it out together.
Right.
Like just how people around you can change and stuff like that. And
It's a real thing.
Being more careful with like who you let into your life now that, that a lot of people might or might not have an agenda as opposed to a few years ago, or whatever.
It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing.
It's pretty wild.
People start treating you different. It's a weird thing.
Your trust kind of gets all fucked up
Exactly.
a little bit,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a learning curve for sure. But I mean, it's part of the gig. You learn it pretty quick. That's just like part of the gig.
Yeah. You're kind of thrown to the wolves in that way.
Right.
It's tough if you're a people person naturally and you love like letting people in and having a good time with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shit. But I kind of you've been telling me I got to dial it back with kind of.
Yeah,
I love people, man. It's just like
my first artist who just signed him.
everybody.
He's opening our tour.
Oh, cool.
But he's extremely accessible.
Have a good time, man. I love everybody.
That means being at the bar 5 nights a week. That's what it means.
All
But
right.
at the same time, yeah, and dude, you're younger, But like at a certain point, what he's talking about is kind of a real thing. You start protecting your energy a little bit more, and it becomes something that you got to just put on your radar as a human,
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
But again, take it with a grain of salt. But I wanna just bring it back to the story, the kind of the timeline of Nashville happening for you. So you get that first hit with Morgan.
Yeah.
And then what? Just more and more. That's kind of how it goes as a songwriter. And I think this is interesting because we don't necessarily have guys who started as songwriters on here. And this, you said something earlier I wanted to touch on. Like, I had that same experience just being never really saw music in my life, but I was unaware of the songwriting aspect, like that whole community of publishing.
Yeah, that it's like an entire industry.
Right. So when that hit happens, all of a sudden kind of floodgates open, more and more people inviting you to sessions. That's kind of how it goes, more or less, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, fortunately, Nashville, a lot of times, like it's delayed. Let's put it that way. So, like, FGL kind of put me on the map and bringing me out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Opened up my window to meeting like really successful writers a lot more. And so I guess what I mean by that is I was fortunate enough to be able to like, I started writing with some pretty big hit writers like before Up Down, but like Up Down was a hit. And then after that, I started having, it was delayed from like songs that I had written like 6 months to 9 months prior with like, hit writers that really taught me how to like really write a hit. But yeah, Up Down happened in July, and then I had Simple, the FGL song Simple in October.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year I had God's Country and Chris Lane. And then anyway, it's been like a few.
Tell us the records you've written. I mean, I know it's a ton.
Well, today is Beers on Me. It's my 11th number one. I'm pretty stoked about that.
No big deal. Let's get a clap, gallery. 11, that's insane.
Thank you, man. Beers on Me, Sand in My Boots,
Yeah.
Single Saturday Night, it's a Cole Swindell song. One Beer.
Yeah, just running through a
One
list of my favorite records.
Charlie put me on One Beer before.
One
it
Beer
came
is
out. I was like,
out of
man,
bounds.
It's
It's out of
ridiculous.
bounds, dude. That's one of my. I mean, Sand in My Boots is actually. I mean, it's like a top 10 record of all time for me right now.
Yeah,
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I'm
great
dead serious. Yeah, I'm
That's
actually
awesome.
I'm actually doing a cover of it at my first show ever.
You are?
Oh, really?
Tomorrow night. Yeah,
He actually is
I'm
like
gonna fuck it
obsessed
up.
with the record.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It's so
I
good.
couldn't believe it when it came out.
Yeah.
I was in LA too. I was running it up at the parties. Come on,
And then
That's it.
running it up.
It's not even a
Six
country
inside.
crowd. Just
No, they'll get mad at me.
I was
like,
gonna say,
too
I'm sure they
late.
love that, man.
Too late. Yeah, no, I mean that's like. I mean, bro. You just named like a few of my favorite records of the last year.
he's Penn Griffey.
It really is. Penn Griffey Jr.
This is Penn Griffey.
He's Penny Powers.
So when you talk, yeah,
Since the dawn of time, men have always loved to chug beer. In the old times of Bavaria, the men of Germany would spend their Oktoberfest drinking out of a festive beer stein. In the 1980s, fraternity brothers all over America spent their Greek week pounding beer out of a funnel. And for the last 4 decades, the world went silent. Then came the Chug Bud, the new revolutionary way to chug a beer. With the combination of a beer bong and a shotgun, this drinking device is scientifically proven to help you chug your beer quickly and easily. Oh, and did I mention it fits in your pocket? Go to chugbuds.com and use promo code YNK69 to get 10% off your entire order. That's chugbuds, CHUGBUDS.com, and promo code YNK69 to get 10% off your entire order. Chugbud, your beer just got a new best friend. This is you listening to Premium Music by Mike. Getting wasted on the beach. Premium Music by Mike. Dancing with a hot girl. Listening to Premium Music by Mike. Hot girl sitting at the bar. Getting hammered on a rooftop. Hot girl at the bar looking your way. You in a dope suit. Money. Convertibles. Premium Music. You having a threesome. Your friend joins in. Shots. Lots of fucking money. Dancing to Premium Music. Hot girls. Beer. Champagne. Girls making out. More cars. More money. More fucking chicks. Premium Music. Drink a beer. Drink another beer. Drink it all, you fucking pussy. Premium Music. Hot chicks. OnlySteves.com.
So when you talk about, you mentioned something when you were talking about just the songwriting journey. I think it's really interesting. I'd like to hear your thoughts on, or just your mindset on writing songs, and why you think you've kind of cracked the code a bit to just what it takes. You know, you don't have to give out your secret sauce here, secret recipe, but just in regards to, you know, was it a kind of, I said like an aha, or just was it a progression into just kind of a general feel that you developed for what's right and what's wrong and what works and what doesn't? Or is it more or less no thought, just be, and, you know?
I think a lot of it is like 50% your own like sauce, like your own thing that you bring to the table that not necessarily anybody else does exactly like you, and then the other half is like catering towards the radio, right? And writing all the time, because it's your brain is like a muscle, right? And there's no, you can get burnt, and I take breaks if I get burnt and I'm writing too much, but like writing a ton, I've just feels like you just get better and better. I don't know if it was like a huge, I mean, it was very, a lot of people think it happened overnight, but it was super gradual. I mean, I was here for 8 years before I had like any success. And so I don't know. I think it's bringing like your thing to the table, but also like being very conscious of writing for the radio. Because I mean, that's like we were talking about that earlier. That's the only way that songwriters make money. So like if you are trying to make a life-changing amount of money, you got to write for the fucking radio, dude. There's just no way around it. And you know, I feel like slowly you can maybe take, instead of 50% radio, like you can weigh a little bit more onto your own thing, and you know, eventually possibly start working on like changing a genre, or people taking a chance on some of your very you songs, you know, that turn into radio songs, and then maybe that takes off. I mean, you look at like FGL, I mean, just a group of people around 2012 that
Big Samuel.
Yeah, I mean Sam, even like Luke Bryan's, like they did a thing, and they had writers that did a very specific thing that had never been done before, and the entire industry like took a turn and it went that way, and now everybody's chasing that ball and trying to do like what, you know, that was. But and that's because those people wrote, like there was a touch of radio, but there was a lot of uniqueness, and it just was something people fell in love with.
So with your artist career, are you, well, I mean, so you know, obviously you know how to write a hit, and you cater your songwriting to the radio because you said like you can't really make any money unless you're hitting the radio.
Yeah.
As an artist, are you catering to the radio, or are you kind of using that as an outlet to really dive into like, all right, this is Hardy as a creative, because, you know, you can do the songwriting for other people, but is this your outlet to just be like, fuck it, I'm gonna be an artist?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw it with I think your most recent record, where you're diving into the hard rock and you're really going for it, and it's like, bro, it's badass. Like,
thank you.
It's hard.
Dude, I don't know, man. Look, the radio game is very frustrating, and it can be a little slimy, and if anybody out there says it's not, they're fucking lying.
Or they just don't know.
Yeah. So, man, and I'm gonna put out the music that I like, and if they want to play it, that's fine. And if they don't, that's fine. And if that means that all we're gonna do is play 3,000 cap rooms the rest of my life, I'm completely fine with that, dude.
Which is probably like the best size.
It's the best
It really
size,
is.
dude. It's the most fun for sure. But yeah, and I'm very thankful for like Big Loud has really let me
Yeah.
like and Joey like just do whatever the fuck we want to do
Right.
and turn in crazy songs and be like, I want to cut this, like Sold Out, for example. That
That's the new record, right?
yeah,
it's
I mean,
great.
I sent that in and I was like, I would love to put out more stuff like this. And Seth and Joey were like, hell yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it. And that stuff's not going to be on country radio. You know what I mean? And they're okay with that. I love
Yeah,
that.
I remember you had to you put a post out. You were putting out some merch that was diving into the heavy metal side.
Oh, I
And
got
he
a
had
lot
to
of
put-
shit for that.
He got some shit from
Well, it's
from
like
his
a-
country people. From
Yeah.
like
Because
and
it had
he
a
had to put
goat
out a post.
skull on like a stake that had like an arrowhead shoved through his head. And I had some scripture posters on the
Yeah.
comments
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
God country, baby.
As your platform grows, you realize very quickly that, you know, yeah, when you start, there's a niche following, and if they're, you know, if you're not so big or so mainstream, there's those people sought you out, and they're your core fan base. But as you know, what's happened to you is just, you know, the stock rises and you reach more people. You realize very quickly that you have to be you.
Dude.
You have to be you.
Yeah.
Because you end up losing yourself, you end up losing your passion for what you're doing. And then not only does it hurt you, but it hurts your product. You know what I mean? And you don't need to play to everybody. There's a group of people out there for you, and however big that may be is however big that may be.
Yep.
But you're able to actually have a sustainable life and outlook and enjoy going into the studio and making what you fucking want to make.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally, man. I'm very thankful in that way.
Yeah.
Because the pressure of potentially having a record that doesn't have a radio hit and being like that is like some shit I do not want to.
Right, but
deal
also
with.
you're coming from a vantage point. Well, this is kind of what I wanted to get to. Is like you're coming from an interesting vantage point because you're going into your artist career, not negating that pressure completely, but you got a bunch of fucking hits, and then you can always write hits for other people.
Yeah,
where
you're-
like, you know, when an artist goes into it, like, you know, one project goes by and you don't have a hit, then the pressure you start really
Dude,
feeling
I
it.
know.
Where you have a whole other outlet. You know, that's
I
why your
know.
question was a good question.
Yeah,
because
it's like you're in a cool spot, man. Because even if you came out with a heavy metal album and everyone got all pissed at you, they got no idea that they're listening to God's country.
They're listening to Hardy.
You're still listening, motherfucker.
You're listening to Hardy anyway.
You're still listening, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. It really is special.
Yeah, I'm thankful for that, man. I know how hard the artist grind is and how competitive and just all the stars kind of have to align for you know, and you got to be like talented too, but
right.
to have a break. And dude, it's got to be terrifying to have all your eggs in one basket, man, and it not work out. And yeah, I'm very thankful to have a couple of different lines out, I guess.
So do you enjoy living in Nashville, coming from Mississippi? Or I know you've seen this place transform a lot.
Oh yeah,
It's definitely not the same city when you showed up. When did you get here?
10.
2010.
So yeah, it was like I feel like 2012, 13 was like the Gulch was started like really blowing up and just everywhere. I remember I used to live in an apartment right down the street, and at 6 p.m. I could leave my apartment, drive to Chipotle right here, and be back in like 12 minutes.
Not
And,
anymore.
dude, it would take you 45 minutes now just to
The
get up
street's the
the
worst.
street. Yeah, it is the worst.
It's the fucking
It's the
worst.
worst. But no, I enjoy it, man. It's still like in the South, and not that really that even matters, but like outside is, or to be able to go hunt or fish somewhere is like 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
So it's, you know.
And who knows how long it remains that way. Just with
No doubt.
the growth that's happening.
Yeah.
It's being pushed out further and further. I'm out in Ashland right now.
Oh, dude, I'm not far from there. I'm in Jolton.
Okay.
But I'm moving. I'm literally earlier today was packing my shit up. We're moving in like a month.
That's exciting.
Yeah, dude, it just, I have like this long, and it's not nice. It's not like that, but like I have a long driveway. It's like a half a mile long, and it goes up through the woods, and then I just live like in a cabin. And dude, I loved it,
It's the best.
but it's become so inconvenient. And like I have to plan like my entire day and sometimes my week around leaving and going back to my house.
It's true.
And that shit sucks.
I've been here for 2 weeks in Ashland.
Yeah.
first place here was right on fucking Broadway, and you can imagine how that went.
Yeah.
I nearly died. I think I'm still trying to recover from that. That's why I'm here getting IVs every day.
Yeah.
But I mean, I apologize to Bobo like 6 times this week because I tell him I'm gonna be here at 1 and I'm here at 2:15.
Yeah, you just don't know. Dude,
You do have to plan your whole fucking day.
So we're moving right over here.
How often are you moving into? Are you coming into the city? Is it a daily thing when you were out there?
Oh yeah, dude. Every single day it's something.
Okay.
And even if I don't have something, my fiance's, we don't live together yet, so she lives right down here, and so I'm either coming in to do something with her, or there's always something, but it's just always a pain. And then like during the week, you know, if I have an hour break between this thing and that thing, and I like don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't just run home and eat a bite or whatever.
Yeah.
I have to
You're
hang
stuck,
out.
man.
You're recently engaged, correct?
Yeah, I mean,
Happened in COVID during COVID.
it was
Did I remember
no
that?
21 actually. We it was August 19th. So God, it's a lot of time has gone by, but yeah, we're planning a wedding. We're getting married in
Congratulations,
October.
sir.
Thank you, man.
You've been with her for a long time.
We met. Actually, what's today?
Actually, fuck, it's our anniversary.
April 18th.
April 18th.
Tomorrow is our. I guess it started once you get engaged. Like your dating anniversary goes away, but tomorrow would be our 4-year anniversary.
Met her here.
I met her in Oxford. She went to Ole Miss, and I was playing cajon for the opening act. Hunter Phelps is a good buddy of mine. He's also a songwriter. He's also on fire right now. But he's an artist too. Our good buddy Jameson Rogers was headlining this place called The Lyric. You might have played there before. Have you ever played Oxford?
No.
And I was playing cajon, and I met her there. She fell for a fucking cajon player, bro.
You got up on that stage, and that was it. That was it.
But yeah, we met at the show, man, and just hung out, went to Huddle House. She had fried pickles, and I had like a fried egg, and she dropped me off, and then I didn't see her for like a
I was
month.
like, that's country.
Yeah, exactly.
She's from San Diego, though. But,
Really?
Yeah, she just wanted to.
Go have that Southern experience.
Yeah,
down
that's
there.
exactly right.
Those schools. I mean, it's odd I haven't played that because I feel like I've touched every college town.
You would crush Oxford, bro.
Every college town I've ran through. I've ransacked every college community.
Literally ransacked.
I had to graduate at some point and get out of there. I was like Van Wilder. I love that. So you met her. She was a student there.
Yeah, she was a junior, and I was. I mean, we have a 6 year. She's 25, and I'm 31 now. Yeah, she was a student. I think she was a junior.
Love it.
And we just stayed in touch, and she came up here for her 21st, and we hung out. And then like a week after that, she texted me and was like, "Do you want to go to a sorority formal?" And I was like,
you should have got the bag, got up and sang. You killed 2 birds with one stone.
Swear to God.
I was like, I mean, yeah, let's do it. And at this point, she was 21, I was 27.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember I was writing a song and then driving to Oxford, and I got in my truck and I got on the interstate, and I just remember thinking like, what the fuck am I doing?
What am I doing right now?
And but in no disrespect to her, it was like, you know, I was 4 years removed from college,
Right.
and I was like, I'm driving to Ole Miss right now to go to a sorority formal with a girl that it realistically I had only hung out with like 3 times.
Yeah.
But we had a very strong connection. It was one of those things.
What's
you know
about?
what I mean? And anyway, dude, we pretty much were dating after that trip, and I had so much fun, and it was awesome. And so for like a year and a half, I kind of got to go back to college because it was before like my artist stuff. It was like I was still just a songwriter, so I could just take off every weekend and go down there. So I was going to Oxford every weekend and just partying, dude. I had a blast. It was really fun.
The best. You didn't really get that college experience, the big college. You said you went to like a kind of community.
I went
college.
when I actually went to MTSU, which is right down the road, but I did not have that college experience, man. I at the time the entire time I was in school, I was dating a girl from Philadelphia.
Oh, you did the long distance.
Yeah, and man, I was really reclusive, kind of weird kid in college, and I stayed in my room and did a bunch of Adderall and tried to learn how to write songs.
So you were there. You had that mindset when you were in college. You were already kind of.
Yeah. So once I
dialed
moved, I was like, okay, I'm doing this, and dude, it's actually a crazy story. My grandfather born and raised in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Has a first cousin named Dennis McCoskey. And Dennis's mom grew up in Philadelphia, but married a man from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, like in the 30s or something, right? And she had Dennis and raised Dennis in Philadelphia, Mississippi. And Dennis ended up moving to LA to be a songwriter. And he wrote Maniac was his big break. And he wrote a bunch of pop hits in the 80s. And then he ended up,
maniac.
Sheesh.
And
That's a
yeah, I know.
smash.
And then so when I was growing up, when I was a little kid, I always knew that I had this cool cousin that was a hit songwriter, and he was this cool guy. And he had moved to Nashville like in the 90s. He had some country hits as a writer, so he was very successful.
Mm-hmm.
And my last year at MTSU, I was putting like fucking Amos Lee covers and like just random songs on YouTube, like video on my webcam. This was 2012, right? So that was still like, it was kind of before the boom of
you were
like,
YouTubing before YouTube.
Yeah. And
We did the same thing.
so I remember posting one, and Dennis wrote on my Facebook wall and was like, "Hey man, been keeping up with you. Like, come by if you want to ever like hang out." And I knew that like he lived here and that, but I didn't know if that he was like signing writers. I didn't know. Like I was still kind of really green.
Right.
So I went to his house and played him everything I had written, which at the time was probably like 15 songs. And long story short, he signed me a year later, and I write for him to this day. I've got a couple years left on my deal with him. But anyway, so we're family. He's literally my third cousin.
Wow.
And so half of his family is from Philadelphia, Mississippi. It's a crazy thing.
Crazy.
And we've now started a company together called Relative Music. And we've signed a couple dudes, and it's wild, man.
So
It's
like
really
a production, like a publishing company,
Yeah.
signing writers and producers and shit.
Cool. Yeah,
Wow,
it's really cool.
love it.
He's a great
So
guy.
I was gonna ask back when you're talking about mom and dad, and
Mm-hmm.
is that were mom and dad, were they playing music all the time in the house? I know your sister was.
Yeah.
Was there a big music background in the family?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was rock and roll for my dad, and he's
And that rubbed off on you.
yeah, to say the least. But yeah, we were a very, very musical family. Like we didn't, it wasn't like what's the movie Step Brothers. It wasn't like that shit. Like
Bring us home. Bring us home.
But big music family. Always music playing in the house. My mom played piano. We had a piano in our house. She would sing in church. My sister would sing in church, and it was just we always listened to the radio going down the road. It was music was like, other than like God and church growing up, music was like by far the most important thing. And we bonded over music as a family. And like when American Idol came out, like we watched every episode together. It was always music.
Isn't it interesting? I mean, I don't know how reflective you are on stuff like this, but just you think about, obviously your balls deep and established and as I make a serious point.
Nailed
Your
it.
balls deep and just being who you are now, and this is you've kind of blossomed into what's happening in your life. Do you ever kind of reflect on the past? And it's interesting. Obviously, we don't we don't choose our parents, we don't choose the families we're born into. But as you get older and you develop, I mean, if you hope most people feel this way. I know it doesn't come to fruition for everybody in that way, but it's incredible how I know I've been this way. Just you reflect on your upbringing and the family you're born into, and
No doubt.
the impact that it has on your being, who you are. You're literally a part of them, and bringing them with you on this journey. It's pretty wild to see everyone. I didn't really have it, That's why I asked that question. Is I'm jealous of people that grew up because we were sports, It was
Right.
all sports. Didn't have that music presence at all, so I felt like
It's
I got
funny. That's a lot of families though, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had it. I wish I had that. I wish I could play fucking guitar.
yeah.
I wish someone would have forced me.
Yeah,
to
you
do it.
guys are sports too. Your
I wish they
family
would
was
have
sports,
just
right?
like forced me, like, bro, like you're 5'5", like
you're not going
it's
to the
not
league.
happening. Let it go. And I just didn't get that, man. I wish I had piano or guitar, and now I got to start late, and it sucks.
Yeah.
there are times though, like that, because my mom especially, like she knows everybody that I know, and she knows what I'm doing and where I'm going to be before I do. And there are times, like Hunter Phelps, I was telling you about my buddy, he's like, dude, my parents don't know shit. If I didn't tell them that I didn't have this song on the radio and that song, they would have no idea. And there are like just some times where I kind of wish that like I would get to tell them like big news and stuff like that, but they know shit before I do.
I love that.
But no,
funny.
I think about it all the time, man, about just all like everything, like and how they taught me to be and how like, I don't know, everything from work ethic to right and wrong and all that shit. And then and infusing that with music. And dude, I think about it all the time.
Same.
I love stories of like people's kind of like the alchemist shit, like your journey. And like, I'm always obsessed with how, you know, we have free will, but how everything seems so predetermined, even though like based on really small decisions, like deciding to drive to Nashville to hang out with my sister.
Yep.
Because that was decided a day before we left.
Yep.
Like that, this could have never happened.
Yeah, you're barking right up the right tree on this one. I talk about intuition all the time, and there was this quote I heard. It was like, you know, prayer is talking to God, and intuition is Him talking back.
Oh wow, dude, that's an awesome quote.
You could probably write that song.
Yeah, that's
like right
cool.
now in your head.
He's already got it. I'm gonna get out of here real quick.
I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna no. Yeah, no, but that when someone said that to me, changed the way I look at life forever, and I almost as that's the compass, you know, that intuitive feeling, even just to go down to that fucking formal, and you're like, the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, and dude, I mean, you're right, and that was so unlike me to take a huge like risk like that. And
if you didn't feel it in your gut, like if you didn't feel something in your gut about her, there's no way you're going to that.
Right.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? Like if some random, you know, I like her, I just met her.
No way.
Something brought you there though, you know?
Yeah,
That's how it works.
100%.
Exactly.
I love this. I could talk about this shit for fucking
Well,
days.
bro, like even the fact like when I up and moved to Los Angeles, like there was nothing on my radar about leaving.
Right.
I was like, I just enrolled in a second semester at a different school back in Omaha because I flunked out there. I was like, I gotta find, you know, I gotta clean it up.
Right.
Like I gotta pull it together.
Right.
And I'm on spring break, and my buddy calls me, and he's doing well in Los Angeles, and he's like, bro, you should come visit me.
Yeah.
And you know, I was spring break drunk. You know, I got Nashville drunk. I got
Those are the best decisions when you make the spring break.
Yeah, I'm spring break
You
drunk.
booked the vacation on spring break.
Yeah,
you booked the next trip.
Yeah, so he's like, yo. So he tells me, he's like, yo, come visit me. And I knew, like, we hung up, whatever. I went about my spring break, and, like, I knew for some reason he wasn't telling me to come visit. Like, it wasn't, you know.
Yeah.
Just like I knew he wasn't.
He
And
never
then
went
when
home.
I got home to Omaha, he calls me, and he's like, yo, like, I booked your flight. Like, I was faded, but I booked your flight. Like, it's tomorrow. And he's like, it's a one-way. Just like, if you ever, like, you know, if you want to leave and you're over it, like, just let me know, and I'll send you. I'll send you back home.
Right.
And I go to my dad, and I was like, yo, Sammy Wilk just called me, and he's gonna fly me out there to LA. He said to just come visit, but I was like, I don't think I should like come home, man. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, fuck, bro, I don't think you should either. Like,
Right.
get out of here. Like, what are you gonna do? Just flunk another semester?
Absolutely.
You know,
I had a.
he knew it was time for me to do something. I didn't know, and it wasn't music yet either. Like, I was just going there.
It's gone. It's
And
going
then-
to be somewhere else.
Yeah, I
you
was
know?
like, well, bro, it wasn't gonna work for me in Omaha.
Right.
That style of life, I wasn't
Never
built
ending
for it.
circle.
Yeah, it was just I
Absolutely.
wasn't gonna do well at it, and I felt like I could figure something out. So
I mean, I was 21, hadn't ever made a song in my life. I was a baseball player. I had a Tommy John surgery on my elbow. I was a pitcher.
Are you a pitcher?
Yeah.
Are you lefty or righty?
Righty.
Righty.
And couldn't fucking travel with the team for about 16 months. So
Damn.
fired up GarageBand, started fucking making little ideas on because I was the kid on the team that could just freestyle and shit. Like, I
Yeah,
was a
like
drunk-
it was funny at the time or fun.
Oh, dude, even
What
hot
year was
boxing,
this?
like
This was 2011
Okay.
or 2010, maybe 20.
What are you,
maybe
are you
2010.
30? What are you?
I'm 33.
33.
So no, when I made my first even just joke GarageBand song, I was 20 years old, and I mean, dude, I had zero intention of like I thought it was more or less just kind of like something to pass the time.
Show your buddies and shit?
Yeah, when my buddies get back from so I lived in a house full of baseball guys. they all go to play at the weekend series at Clemson. I remember like it was yesterday. And I made this song called College Humor. It was one of the first songs I ever did, you know. I was Mike Stud.
Yeah.
And that's even how the name came about. It was just like like I was Mike Stud to the teammates. Long story.
Ah, okay.
So so I went to Duke right after the Duke lacrosse scandals. Do you remember that?
Yeah, of course.
So I get there and they're super sensitive as just a student body, especially the athletes. Like
After that, or just in general?
after, because talk about balls deep. They were balls deep in controversy, and very.
Maybe.
Talk about balls deep. These
balls,
guys
balls
were
deep is
balls.
balls deep. Balls deep is the name of this podcast. Yeah. But you know, I get there and they're like, "Hey, man, y'all can't have social media. Like we're dealing with people who are they're friending like Duke athletes and then, you know, posting their pictures on the internet, like underage drinking, trying to get them in trouble.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
this whole thing.
Nice.
So I ended up just being Mike Stud because the baseball team went with porn names with our real initials. so my real initials were MS and Mike Stud was just a winner.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we would call each other by our Facebook names around our coach because he was a fucking hard ass and he would have been pissed if he knew we had we were going around the rules.
Right.
So when I made that record, I mean, I think about intuition all the time now because I don't know what the hell called me to do that. You know, like nothing, not one inkling, 1% of me felt like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and have a music career or do anything of the sort. You know, it's just all intuitive. And since then, I feel like I try to let that steer the ship.
Yeah.
Sounds like you do
just
the same
kind of
thing.
live your life 100%.
I have this theory, we just talked about this, because I'm late every day to come here for treatment. And I try to rationalize to myself. I have this theory about time. Essentially, like, it's tied to our intuition dialogue, but essentially, like, if you take a right out of your house,
Okay.
or you take a left out of your house, there's two totally different things that could happen. You take a right, you might meet your wife. You take a left, you might get in a car accident, going to get a coffee. You know, so when I think about time and being where you're supposed to be, if I'm rushing, like this is a crutch for me because I'm always late, so I'm trying to make myself feel better about it. But if I'm rushing around and I'm in a bad vibe and I'm rushing trying to get somewhere, I usually feel like I'm not right where I'm supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like there's an element to it where, you know, I'm in flow in a sense, you know what I mean? But in regards to time and being in the right place, you got to be right where you're supposed to be at all times. You think about it, 3 seconds go by, something bad could happen if you're in this spot, or if you're a minute later, something good could happen, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at even down to that. Now, again, it's probably a crutch because I'm always late and I feel bad about it. But at the same time, I kind of look at it that way, you know, like following your intuition to a fucking T, actually using it as the compass of everything you're doing at all times.
That's interesting. It almost like the opposite of that is like Murphy's Law a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
Like if you are in a hurry, you are going to hit every red light.
Exactly.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah. So when I'm late, that's basically that's the spiel I go with.
That's sorry, bro. I'm just I'm
just listening to my intuition.
Yeah. Dude, I read a similar to that, but I was thinking about like kind of like our butterfly effect stories of like making one decision.
Right.
Dude, I read this crazy theory on the Kardashians about that in the 90s, or was it the 80s? What was the OJ thing?
Anyone?
When did he play for the Bills? Okay. So and I'm going to get this wrong, but the Bills were in the playoffs and he got thrown a potential game-winning touchdown pass and he dropped it. Okay. Then he got traded to the Raiders? Where did he go? Raiders? 49ers? I don't know. I'm sorry. Sorry, OJ. I know you're watching this.
OJ.
Whoever it was. He dropped that pass. Bills are out of the playoffs. He gets traded to the California team, whoever that is. And then all the shit happens, right? And Kardashian represents him in court. That's what blew him up, so that when Kim was on that video, that blew her up, blah, blah, blah. The theory is, if O.J. Simpson would have caught that pass, the Kardashian empire could have never been a thing.
Don't even exist.
Because he wouldn't have got traded to the California team, or however that worked out.
Genius.
I didn't make that up, but I saw it somewhere. But
So you're just reading literature in your free time about the Kardashians?
Kind of, dude. Yeah.
I had you all wrong.
Can't go wrong.
But I love shit like that.
Yeah,
man.
no, it's really interesting. It's really interesting. Let's dial it back, though. I want to dial back into what's happening now for you. Tell us about tour, and I know you've been with Dirks for a while now. You've been opening did the FGL as well.
I did Aldine in the fall. That was my first like big direct spot, and then I'm with Wallen now, and I've been with him shit really since November, and we're going till I think like the end of September.
Right,
dude. It's
that boy's on a spaceship,
bro. It's so fun right now, man. Like the shows are, it's just another level.
Another level. Yeah.
It's crazy. I've never seen people react to somebody. I've never been to a Garth show, but everybody says that it's like that. But
Garth played the other night, right?
yeah, he played the stadium.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so fun, and his fans are like
Beyond diehard.
Oh my God, and we share a ton of fans. He obviously has way more, but we share a lot of fans, and so
Allegedly.
I got you now.
yeah, dude. So I mean, it translates really well, and it's awesome. Man, the shows
situation.
are freaking
Bananas.
awesome.
Yeah. I haven't been yet.
I heard you guys have like an unbelievable show. Like a lot of my buddies, like they've been telling me you guys are just fucking out of bounds, and it's just like it's too fun, man.
We treat it like a rock show.
Yeah, I gotta get to them.
Y'all have to, man.
Yeah,
I'm coming.
We're doing.
I can't get Mike out of the fucking yoga studio.
But you live. You're like you're here. Are you here now?
Not yet. I'm like nomadic.
All right,
Right
I like
now.
that. Respect.
So since I was in LA for 6 years, probably 4 years too long, and you know the way I make music, I make it. I'm just like, even if I have a house with a studio in it, I got a studio in my bedroom. That's just the way I like to make it. And I
Just dig into your
I
own
learned
deal.
how to record myself and do it all. You know,
Right.
so until it's ready for mix or master, I could do it all there. So, and I do it alone. You know, so
Yeah.
that's just the way. That's what works for me the best. So for me, like staring at the same wall or even the same view, I started to kind of take inventory of that. Like, man, when I went and recorded in other places, it brought out a whole other thing, you know, like,
Right.
and you start thinking about, you know, the intuition. When I talk about, like, I really truly subscribe to it completely. So I'll be a week from now, I'll be like, we don't have a plan where we're living yet. We'll source a house somewhere cool. Just make sure that's, if I'm spending, I'm not a flashy dude at all. Like I'm driving a fucking Jeep. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm spending on nice homes with a nice view in a nice area, so I could fucking take that inspiration in.
Yeah,
you know,
dude.
and it's just what works for me, you know. So when COVID happened, I dipped out of LA and I just been going places 2 to 3 months at a time, you know. And then as soon as it gets dry, I start moving. I start looking and.
That's cool, man. Dude, what a cool way to live. I mean, are you single?
Yeah,
Well, that helps too.
debatable.
Well,
It's debatable.
single enough.
Yeah, single enough right now.
Single, not looking.
She's not looking
At all.
She's in Europe.
Okay,
She's
cool.
European, so it's pretty difficult. That's why I latched onto your long distance mention earlier, because I'm trying to understand how to do it.
Well, that gives you the, I guess, freedom. That's not the right
Absolutely.
word, but to
Yeah.
do what kind of bounce
Absolutely.
around.
Yeah, and I look at it like this: like how long am I going to be in this window where this is cool and this could work?
Yeah.
You know, with my buddies working and traveling with me, they're going to have families at some point. You know, we're not exactly spring chickens. You know what I mean? So
I know I hate that.
Mike's been sending me out in the battlefield.
yeah,
on his
I
behalf.
hung up. They're slowly raising my party jersey
Into the
hung up
rafters.
in the rafters, and I'm passing the baton to him.
Yeah.
He's out on my behalf.
Rookie
Are you
year.
hitting that time? I have definitely hit it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I could not be more okay with it.
That's what we were just talking about. I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah.
Seems like the Big Loud boys are just kind of a conglomerate here on this. We're kind of all cleaning up our acts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Morgan is. I know Ern, a guy who is a fucking goddamn savage. Like, I brought him on tour with me in, 2018, Kilmer?
I think it was 18, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like late 20, and he was like not even Ernest yet.
Yeah.
He was
He was
Ernest-
Snow.
He was Snow in Ernest, very
Ernest
short
K.
run with Ernest K.
Yeah.
And on our tour bus, I remember telling him, like, I was trying to tell him he needs to either be Ernest or Ernie, because I loved Ernie.
Ernie
Yeah.
would have been awesome.
He's such an Ernie.
Ernie would have been awesome.
But he's an Ern too, you
Yeah.
know, it works. But yeah, I mean, dude, it's crazy to see him in this phase, having a kid and just clean it up, knowing how wild and how fun,
Yeah.
you know. It's
Dude.
really- talk about it a little bit. I know, so I've talked about it a lot, and these guys, I'm an outlier in my group. They all think I'm a pansy because I'm just like, they're all going out 5 nights a week. I'm like, see you guys tomorrow morning.
I'm getting voice memos from Mike at 1 a.m. He's just finished up his 3rd round of yoga. Hey, buddy, you're gonna have to lock it up pretty soon. I'm worried about you. And he's not wrong. I'm
transitioning into the disappointed dad.
Yeah, I see it when I stumble in the house. He's getting the water. I'm just like, I'm trying to play it cool. Hey, how are you?
I'm literally the parent in the house. I don't know how it happened. I used to be a fucking wild motherfucker too, but
it's the right time.
It's I try to explain this, and just like, as an artist, you don't go anywhere. We're in a drinking culture. Touring artists like yourself, you're in a drinking culture 24 fucking 7.
You can't get away from it unless you switch careers.
And you have to just make this decision like you're making, where it's just like, you know what? No, I'm just not gonna do it. You know what I mean? So you said you drank the other night. You're still kind of, you'll pick and choose a spot. That's kind of right where I am too.
Yeah. I'm just over it, man. I mean, I look back on from 21.
Commercial break.
From like age 21 to like now. Like this past decade, dude, I had so much fun, and I did everything that I wanted to do as far as partying.
You drank every drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That might be another song for you as well.
That's actually pretty
Tap
good.
me in. I'm about to move here.
They say drop a word, take a third in Nashville, dude.
Yeah, come on. I need a number 1. Come on.
Hardy will turn it into a number 1.
I swear to God.
That's what he does. But kind of talk a little bit. We were talking off screen. Talk a little bit about just, I think a lot of people want to wonder about this. I used to have the same feeling. Like, I just felt like I was. It slowly turned into a feeling of slight entrapment, if that makes any sense. Just slightly entrapped by the scenario, and again, using it as a crutch. Like, this is what I do, you know. But my intuition's telling me, man, stop fucking doing it, you know.
Yeah.
And once I have 4 drinks, it turns into 35.
You can't. I mean, everybody's different, right? But it sounds like we're the same. I can't. There's no way that I can hit like a great buzz and be like, you know what, this is good. I'm
gonna take it to bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna let this wear off and go to bed. Like, that's never happened to me ever once in my entire life.
It's a drink till failure.
That's another song. You never want to waste a buzz.
Yeah.
Once you establish a good buzz, you don't want to waste it.
No.
You don't want to waste it.
And
we've been drinking till failure.
Yeah, I don't know. I just honestly, I was inspired by Ern and Morgan, and I've taken breaks before. Just a guy told me once, just to make sure you can, take a couple weeks off.
Absolutely.
But dude, I just went like 4 weeks, and we had a show in Phoenix at Country Thunder outside of Phoenix.
Yep.
And it was a big festival show, and that was going to be my first, and it was my first like sober show in a really long time. And I was nervous, and went out there, and I had the best time, and I was present, and I remembered all of it. And I was looking at people and interacting with people and smiling and laughing, and it was real, and none of it was synthetic. And I don't know, it kind of has flipped a switch.
We got all types of.
We got raccoons.
Yeah, we got some in the rafters.
And actually, so I've played 4 shows since then. So I did that one, and then I hit my mark where I was like, okay, this was the day that I said, I was going to go to for not drinking. And so then the next show after that, I had 2 beers and like 2 shots before the show. Not like in a 30-second span, but over the course of like 30 minutes or so.
Panic drinks.
Right.
And I did the show, and I hated it. And that was the first buzz that I had gotten in about a month. And I was like,
wow.
Foggy, and the show was fine, but I was uncomfortable and felt like I wasn't myself. So then the next night, I was like, you know what? I'm going to not drink again, and I did it, and I loved it. So I think
proof is in the experience.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I shotgun a beer at the end of every show, and I think that might be, for a while, might be the first time I drink on stage every night, because I've really been enjoying being present. Like hosting the party, you know what I mean? And being the responsible
100%.
person that makes sure that everybody is taken care of. And dude, it's just, there's something about it, man. Being there with everybody and enjoying the experience with everyone, as opposed to being kind of sloppy drunk and running around. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it I really, really like.
Yeah, being present is a good word. I heard you say. What do we have to pay you to turn that shotgun into a chug bud on stage?
As long as it's a Busch Light, dude, I'll do it, man.
Yeah, I see you're one of the first guys we did the chug bud collab with.
We did the Hicks tape thing, dude.
Yeah, it was sick.
Dude, and it was awesome.
Love it. Yeah, it's when you talk about nerves, and we think, thinking about your start and how you never really felt like you were going to be on stage, what the fuck was going on in your head when it started to turn into that? Did you resent it, or did you start to really get fired up and cherish it, or was it where in that sphere of emotions were you on when you first started really having to get up there and fucking sing and be vulnerable and be on stage in front of people?
Man, I loved it, dude. My first show ever was I just put out an EP like in early October 2018, and we had a Hardy Halloween show at FGL House. Packed it out. It was all industry people, right? Nobody knew who I was. But we packed it out, 300 or 400 just industry people. It was just like a big party.
Yeah.
And again, I said this earlier, but I felt like I was kind of thrown to the wolves of like, get up there and fucking do it, dude. And I don't know, man. I enjoyed it. My favorite part of all of it is the 45 to 90 minutes of being on stage. And I've let it become like an outlet for me. Like, I'm a very chill dude for the most part. And I feel like when I get on stage, it's a good time to get all of the emotion that I hold, not say hold inside, but it just,
right.
I get it all out, man.
Really.
And I use that as an outlet to just kind of get everything out. And so I don't know, man, the performing part of it, I've been in love with since the very beginning. I love it.
Talk about intuition.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get up there and you feel like shit and you feel out of place, that's your intuition's way of saying this ain't it.
Yeah. No, you're definitely right,
you
man.
had the exact opposites, and that I can't relate anymore. I mean, for somebody, I never had music in me at all, but even when the music sucked and I had about 2 or 3 songs, I still fucking, you talk about time going by, time flies when you're having fun. I get up on stage and everything else disappears in your head. It's almost like getting in a freezing cold water and you can't think about anything else. That's what cold therapy is about.
Right.
Like, for depression, anxiety, people do that type of stuff. Cold exposure to kind of, you shock your system and it clears your fucking head because you're just focused on surviving,
Yeah.
It feels like that almost for me when I get on stage. You kind of forget everything else that's going on in life and you can just fucking
No doubt.
let it hang out.
And you know what's funny is that one show that I drank and I didn't feel good, I noticed that 3 or 4 songs before the end, I had the thought of like, I'm ready for this to be done.
Wow.
And just that the show, and the 3 other sober shows that I didn't want to leave. And I don't know why drinking had something to do with that, but
cool realization.
Dude, it was awesome. Like, I genuinely walking off the stage, like, had FOMO. I was like, I want to play 5 more songs because I was having so much fun.
Wow.
It's really cool.
Really cool. So how often when you're on stage, when you have, because I can fucking relate to it, how often do you think, like, especially when you're opening these big arena shows, and I know it's a whole other beast when you're playing to a crowd that's there, and yes, you're on the bill and you got your own fans there, but there's another guy, another act to follow, right? How often are you having those experiences in your head or those thoughts in your head, like, I want to get the hell off the stage? Is it a frequent thing, or is it kind of just few and far in between?
It's definitely happened before.
Yeah. I have them.
But dude, it depends on the setting for sure. Mm-hmm. But thankfully, like, the shows have been so fun in the past year and a half, especially, actually building a fan base that it hadn't happened in a while, man. And not that it ever is like, I'm always like grateful, grateful to be there.
Right. There's extenuating circumstances too. There's so many. You're a human being, and there's all these other things happening in your.
Well, you could be tired, had a long travel day, haven't slept, and I mean, we're all still humans, bro.
Something. Yeah, 100%.
Like, there's definitely been times where, like, I'm like, man, I cannot wait to get a shower after this and just go to bed or whatever it is. But
yeah,
man, recently I've just been really lucky. The shows and the fans have been so awesome that. Yeah, just don't want to leave.
When talk about arenas real quick, and I know you're going to be going to fucking stadiums soon with Morgan, right? Or playing some of these stadium shows with him.
Definitely doing like some big sheds, and we are doing a stadium show. I can't remember.
I can't remember a stadium date. Just when you know you're busy.
Did you just say shed?
like amphitheaters.
Yeah.
No, not like actual.
No, I know. It's a hard.
I love that you
hard
called
way
it
to
shit.
say that. Yeah, I loved hearing that.
Yeah.
I knew what you were talking about. I was just like, that's hard. That's tough.
Yeah, I think we're doing a thing like late this summer or something like that, and I can't talk about it, but I think I might be doing some stadium shows next year.
Amazing.
Not as a headliner, but with
Right.
some people.
So, I've not. What does that feel like getting out on stage in front of that many people? Is there even you know, because you talk about the 3,000 person shows, we kind of agreed like that's like the sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
How would you compare it? Now I know it's probably a different. Is it a different sensation for you when you get in front of that many people, or is it kind of the same thing? Just a lot more eyes on you, but the same experience you're having, getting out there. I just one of those. I like to talk about this with people who share big stages or get on big stages, and this could be with athletes or whatever. It's a really interesting thing when we talk about reflection and reflecting on your life and what's going on. And then I know you're a really even keel guy and humble, and that's what I love about, especially the country guys. Just really don't take themselves too seriously, which is fucking awesome, and it's the way I try to be, you know. But you do something in life. You talk about there's 8 billion fucking people on the planet, and you found this calling that you're just so good at that gets to a point where you're going to places and there's fucking goddamn 30,000 people watching you do your thing, and I don't, you know, talking numbers wise, this is the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the world who
Right.
can even fathom, you know, what that may feel like. You know, put us there for you, or at least in your experience, just what that feels like. And is it any different than getting up on stage and playing that 1,000 person? Or
Dude,
even that?
I think it's very different. Now, with Morgan specifically, his fans are so awesome that a lot of the arenas we play feel like you're just playing a big club show, you know?
Because
They're singing along,
Right.
they're all on their feet. But dude, and I feel like any artist in town would say that the energy and the most fun shows are headlining anywhere from 1,000 to a 5,000 cap room. They're nothing. I mean, we talked about
That's
it.
where I'm at.
You can't beat it, dude.
Yeah.
And like there is a sweet spot of like when you're really selling them out and selling them out fast. Like those are the fans, dude. There's
Core.
nobody that walked up and was like, "Yeah, I know one beer." You know, the people know the shit, and like there's nothing beats that to me. And the arena shows are awesome. And then you get to amphitheaters, and there's a small pit, and then there's seated, you know, like seats, and then there's the lawn. And that's a little bit tougher because like the really drunk, crazy fans are out at the lawn, and you almost wish that it was reversed. And the stage is at the top, and
Yep.
you're playing backwards. But
Yep.
dude, nothing beats the clubs to me. I mean, I would love to, you know, I obviously would love to get, you know, to be able to do like an arena tour and all that, and hopefully that'll happen one day. But I want to always be able to go back, and even if it's 4 or 5 shows a year or a charity thing or whatever, go hit some club
stopping you
shows.
from doing that,
Dude,
right?
100%.
You can do it all anytime, right?
100%. You just can't beat the energy. I mean, there's nothing better. It's the best shows are the club shows.
So how competitive are you of a guy in regards to, you got 11 number ones, you know, you come from a conservative place, you know, growing up where you grow up and almost not even ever seeing this happen for yourself, and then it's happening, and you're kind of one of those, you know, we talk about the songwriting community, one of those guys when people hear it, like, that guy, he's got the sauce, you know, like, how, is there a competitive spirit in you right now that wants to go on and write fucking 40 more?
100%. Yeah.
It's cool.
And it's not even competitive with other people. Like I'm not trying to beat
Yeah.
everybody around me. That's one of the cool things about Nashville is everybody roots
Everyone's
for everybody.
so cool.
But yeah, dude, who doesn't want to be the best?
Yeah. I mean, there are people. There
That's
are people.
wild.
Well, it's not even about being the best. It's just more so like, you know, when you think about goals and you think about just like, hey, like I get to a certain amount of money where I want to go out, like especially the country guys, I feel like there's so just like, you know, they're not necessarily needing mansions and private jets everywhere, and
Right.
you're making a bunch of money and it's mailbox money. Send it out, go out to the fucking long driveway, drive down to the mailbox, get your check, and fucking go hunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask that question just because, you know, I feel like it's, but you put it a good way. There's a competitive spirit in just being great for yourself. And at that, so you don't feel like with the success you've had, you've even come close to arriving. You feel like you're just kind of.
I don't know if I ever will.
Yeah.
I think I heard stories about like Michael Jackson that like Thriller had to be turned in, and he was like, it's not done, and they were like, it's done, and it was Thriller.
Now we're gonna sell 18 billion records.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of artists. I don't know if there will ever be a moment where I will say like I'm done or like I've made it or like whatever.
Right.
It's just I want to.
It's part of why you're great. You know what I mean? The lack of complacency.
Yeah,
know?
I think like definitely. Always thinking that there's more or better out there for yourself and more you can do. And like every project, in my head, I want it to be better than the last. And that's probably not, realistic, but I want to be, I don't ever want to stop, and I don't ever want to think like this is it. This is as good as it's going to be.
We just talked about this concept on Bussin' with that McConaughey acceptance speech that he had. He said, my hero's me in 10 years, and I'm never going to get there, but I'm going to keep chasing it.
Right.
It's kind of what it is, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it's a fine line, because I see you have, you read The Alchemist and those types of things move you. There's this other quote I just read in a book that really moved me, and I asked the question because I have feelings about what I really want or how I see my life going. Is this just a chapter in my life? What are the other things I want to do? It's part of why I want to put down partying a little bit. I don't want to be defined by that. And
sure,
I want to have a family and have other human experiences. Like I feel like I'm like aging backwards, because like I got people that do shit for me, like shit that you're supposed to do as a man. I'm like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I go through that too, like paying your bills and shit. But
yeah, there's aspects of it. I mean, no one's really fired up to pay their own bills, but you know what I mean? Like shit around the house and just the things that kind of make you feel like a man.
Yeah.
But there was a quote is about, I have something that he'll never have. And it was a story about this multimillionaire who really was dying to be a billionaire. He came from India, came from a really poor family, nothing. Went on to make $100 million, ended up going to jail for 40 years for insider trading after having $100 million.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
Someone said, I'll have something he'll never have, and it's enough.
Wow.
And something I think about, because I felt that's where I had like a bit of a spiritual shift, where I started to kind of think less about life is about winning all the time and acquiring and getting and getting and getting, like getting something from life. And I asked myself if I would ever be able to have enough. And that's something I try to put my attention on now as I get older. Is just like, I will never, ironically, when I had this discussion and this internal dialogue, I actually got more successful once I stopped caring about the results, and detaching from the results and detaching from the need to win. But it doesn't mean I'm working any less or working any less hard. I'm just being exactly who I'm supposed to be, and I'm following my intuition, and it's telling me to get in there and write songs, and I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
But I like to ask that question with guys who have a lot, whether not even money, just have a lot going on and are actualizing a lot of their dreams. Where do you draw the line, or is there even a line to draw? I don't know. It's just a dialogue I have with myself, but I try to get an understanding of the guys I have sit down here, because everyone I sit down with has some success in some way, and I love to understand how they're interpreting it, because I think when people have dreams and they don't achieve it, and they look at people who are achieving their dreams, they think, oh, it must be incredible to achieve your dreams. Yes, it is, but it comes with a whole other set of circumstances and set of, I guess, inquiries about life and what it really is about. You know what I mean? So when you look at your life, that's something I like to ask guys, just like, what is it really about? You have just a passion for music, right? So you feel like you'll never stop writing songs, even,
right.
It's just you.
Right.
Right. And that's kind of your compass for it, more or less. You'll stop writing songs when you don't fucking feel like it anymore.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Yeah, man, I think a lot of that just revolves around happiness, right?
Right.
And for me, I mean, that's kind of similar to your deal where like I don't know where things are going to go or whatever, but at the end of the day, I want to always be happy and content, which doesn't always coincide with wanting to be the best or whatever, but they're almost two different lanes for me. I think my biggest thing is some sense of normalcy because I grew up very normal and I'll still always feel like I'm very normal.
Right.
So like being close with my family, my fiance, having a family, and going to the fucking grocery store and buying my own groceries and going on vacations and doing all that, I think is something that I want to always be consistent.
Right.
Because I think that being grounded in that way is gonna allow me to be the most content with my life. It almost is like my career is almost like a completely different lane, and me being content, I think my thought process, it revolves more around a normal life and having a sense of normalcy as opposed to like the crazy career stuff.
I relate 100%.
It's wild how that works, right?
Absolutely.
It's fucking crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell us about life now. We'll wrap up here or close to it. What do you have? What do you have on the docket? You're moving into a new house with the wifey.
Yeah.
Let's not overlook that. That's a big step.
Dude, super exciting. We're getting married in October.
Great.
Just touring this year. I'm putting out new music at the end of the summer that I'm really excited about. A lot of more of the heavier rock stuff.
Sick.
Trying to play a lot of golf.
This guy can swing it right here, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, I'm here, man. You let me know.
Have you played with Ern yet?
Top golf.
That doesn't count.
He don't want it though. I can already tell.
He doesn't want it.
He don't want it. I'm sure he's got game, but I'm taking
I'll
him.
have to get you out here with the boys. You
I'm
play
here,
a lot
man.
of golf, yeah? Or
Yeah.
you've done playing less, you said?
No, I mean, I try to play once a week.
Yeah.
That's plenty.
You go to the Troubadour or where?
Kind
All over?
of wherever. I don't play Troubadour a lot. It's so far, and even though not so much recently, but I just it's such a far drive, man. And you get out there and you drink, and like, you know,
Oh, yeah.
then getting back into town, and you can't really Uber there and back. But dude, anywhere I play, there's a lot of great public courses. Not even like muni courses, but like just good public courses. The Hermitage out at
Hermitage is crazy.
President's
man.
Course is
That
probably
was the first place
best
I played
one.
out here,
Who's
man.
who's the coolest guy you played golf with?
Peyton Manning.
Sick.
That's hard. That's hard.
And
And he can
That's
play.
hard.
Peyton can play too, from what I know.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he can play the game.
I just got to play Augusta, man. I had to
You did
say
not
it.
get
Yeah.
to play.
And I played with like him and his two brothers. It was fucking wild.
How'd that
bro.
happen? They're fans?
I mean, yeah, and crazy enough, their mom is from Archie's wife is from Philadelphia, Mississippi, and so and they have a cabin at the fair. It's right across
Just
from
came full circle.
Full
here.
circle right here.
and so we've always known of each other. And dude, he texted me like 2 months ago, out of the blue, 3 weeks prior to the round, and just said, "Hey, dude, this is Peyton Manning. Do you want to come play Augusta with us?"
Do you think it was Ernest, like fucking with you?
Bro, I
Like,
didn't know. I was like, I did not know, and I literally
Send a
I was with
selfie.
Callie, my fiance, and I was yeah.
I don't
Send a
fucking-
selfie
I
with
don't-
hold two
Yeah,
fingers
hold
up.
two fingers
I'm not buying this.
That's good.
And I had the ACMs the night before in Vegas. So I was like, let me figure out some stuff really quick and I'll let you know. And dude, sure enough, I took a red eye right after the ACMs, flew, and we played 2 days. Jake Owen was there. I'm sure Jake was probably in his ear because Jake and I have played.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, and we played golf a lot. And so I Jake and Peyton and them, that he's good buddies, and Jake's played Augusta a bunch, and so I'm sure that he was like, well, Hardy plays golf, so
Yeah.
but that was by far, and I got to play with Daly out here one time at Old Hickory too. That was
You guys
pretty
get hammered?
cool. I did.
I know
I
I
think he
did.
He was drinking some beers. For
It
sure.
probably takes him more than a few beers to get him going at this point. That guy could fucking get after it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But he was good, man. That round was like, it was like a group of 6 of us, but there was nothing crazy. We were just playing golf, man. It was really cool.
You did a hole in one recently, didn't you?
I did last year.
Last year?
My
I
first
saw that. I
one,
remember
man.
seeing
You
it.
got the hole in one. I'm convinced I'm gonna go my whole life with that one.
With that attitude, you
Yeah,
will.
no, I think that's how the cards. Gonna be. I'm gonna play good golf for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever gonna go in.
Maybe we'll get you out here with the boy and see if you can hang with him.
Dude, I would love it,
Easy.
man.
Yeah, let's go. I'm ready to go, man.
I love golf is my I hunt and fish and do a lot of shit, but I love golf.
I've said it a few times. I like golf more than I like anything.
Really?
I mean that. Yeah, it's like not even a joke. It's my favorite thing to do. Like if I could pick, it'd be golf.
Yeah.
A day where you have a great round.
I've never
best
been
thing
like it kills a hangover. I've never been like a bad mood. Doesn't
If you think about it, you're out there in nature, man. You know,
Man, I
you
got
talk
my
about
sandals
communing with nature is
I
great
go
for
after it, man.
your mood and just your overall vibe. So it checks that box 100%.
Yeah,
Then
it's fun, dude.
put one in the water that.
I've never been the type to. I never get upset.
It's like
I don't get upset on the golf
I
course.
thought you said you're not the type to ever put it in the water.
I'm not the type to put it in the water either. But no, I don't get upset. I don't get upset when I'm golfing. I mean, bro, if you're not getting paid to play golf, you're not good at it. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, there's levels to it.
yeah, there's like a different. If you're gonna start getting mad, like just
Yeah, I'm buddies.
Calm down.
Are you buddies with any of the pro guys?
Yeah, I mean, Justin Thomas and I like talk on Instagram. That's pretty much the only one.
Do you give a shit about pro guys?
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
JT just won, right? Last weekend.
Did he win?
I'm pretty sure he just won last weekend.
What? Which one?
I gotta go look at it. But
They were in
He didn't win the big one. What the hell was it?
No.
Who won the Masters?
Scotty
Scotty.
Scheffler.
yeah, Chef,
Okay.
and he's
Four
just,
putted from 10 feet.
he's at a
Still
bounce.
won by
What
like
happened
4
there?
shots.
Homa had a good tweet about it.
What
He
do you get,
said,
the
you might
yips?
as well be the first
Yeah.
one to. He said you might as well be the first one to six putt and get a W.
Yeah.
Because Homa put a tweet out about it. It was
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. I'm buddies with Max Homa.
He's cool.
Good buddies. He's the man.
I saw his. Have you done Sunday Conversation yet?
No, I'm going to. I'm
He's
about
about
to in a few weeks.
Oh, dude.
I love
wanted to do
Caleb.
it so
I was
bad.
gonna say I thought you guys might have done it. Yeah,
No, we talked about it a while back. I need to hit him up again. 'cause
it's
he
my
said that they
favorite
were
piece of
starting that.
content on the internet right now.
Yeah.
It's not.
Caleb's
getting,
so good.
He's so good. It's just not getting old either.
Shout out Caleb. That's
Yeah,
my guy. I've known
legend.
him,
I
known him
love
for a long
that,
time.
dude. He's.
I just found out that fool play. He was quarterback at North Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't know if he played, but it's like the fact that he was even in that position. I was like, dude, Caleb, you're hilarious.
Yeah. He's a legend.
He's a legend.
He's a legend.
I asked Marty and Glennie Balls came to our
Glennie, dude.
Madison Square Garden show, and
I saw that.
I asked Glenn, I really both of them, but I was like, is Caleb? Do you have to like do a lot of editing? Like, do y'all laugh? And he was like, bro, Caleb does not break in those interviews. Like what you see is exactly like how he
It's
is.
so cool.
That's
man.
like his calling.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's mind
I
blowing.
literally, when we did that podcast, we were talking about you. He gave me a big pep talk that night. And then I gave him the same pep talk. I was like, because I was asking about Sunday Conversation. At that point, it wasn't as big as it has. It's really blossomed and taken off
Yeah.
since then. But it was gold then. And he was talking about like they only do it in season, NFL season, and I was just like,
Dude.
do it every fucking Sunday.
Grab
for the
anybody
rest
you
of
can.
time.
Yeah,
Until it's not working anymore. It's so good.
Yeah.
And he's just getting better and better at it.
dude,
incredible.
it's the new Between Two Ferns.
It is.
I was
love
that's so
Between Two
crazy,
Ferns.
bro. I was like, it's everything that Between Two Ferns. Like,
Yeah, it's the modern version.
it's
you
the
know?
modern version.
And it's just gonna get. I mean, he just had MGK. It's gonna get bigger, bigger.
Do you see how they had Glennie in that episode?
Yeah, bro.
How good is that? And so, hey, man, fucking shout out Glennie Balls.
What
I love
artists
him.
right now move the needle for you?
Oh man. Let me look at my. I get asked this a lot, and I can never.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So I apologize
mean-
for putting you in that spot.
I listen to a lot of metal, so there's a band I'm into right now called 12 Foot Ninja. They're freaking unreal.
12 Foot
dude.
Ninja?
Yeah.
Okay.
Co Wetzel's a buddy of mine, but I'm a big fan of his shit
Yeah.
a lot.
Got him doing the Chug Buds. We just did a collab with him.
Dude, Co is sick.
He could party his ass off, that dude.
Cautious Clay.
Yeah, I love
Dude,
Cautious Clay.
oh my
That
God.
Wildfire
Wildfire's
record.
just it's crazy, man.
I'm a big fan of
I'm
him.
stuck on it. I'm still on it.
Yeah, melody's crazy.
It's still the only record I'm listening to right now.
Yeah, it's really good. I love Cautious Clay.
I'm that kind of guy. If I like a song, it's just like it's repeat
Wear it out.
until it's done, and then,
Yeah.
and then I'm over it.
Well,
But it sucks because then I have fucking a week and no music, and you're just like, son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah, yeah.
are you? So you have a show tomorrow night?
Yeah, so I'm doing there's like a independent publisher award thing called the AIMPs, and that's at like 5, and then I'm going straight from there to like a charity thing that we're doing like 7:30 to
Piss, you can't
11.
come.
Dude, I
tomorrow.
know.
Yeah, that sucks.
I know. Or where you put marathon?
Yeah.
God, dude. What time do you
Is he gonna try and swing it?
Do we know
what time do you go on?
Do you know what time I go on? I would guess around 9 or 9:30.
There's a chance that I could make at least like this back half of your
I
set.
think Ern's gonna come out and sing. And I think,
Could I just text like Ern or somebody and slip in the back door?
Yeah, just
Just take.
Yeah,
Well, I don't want to bother you if especially if you're on
it's full-
stage.
I'm on
just text
stage.
Foley. Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Hardy's here. Get him, man.
No, I'm gonna text you my TM, and then if you just hit him. But
Dude, that'd be awesome.
and then I would love to have you, obviously.
Okay.
It's gonna be a blast.
If it doesn't happen, it'll happen another time. You know?
Okay. Well, I'll check in if we're done and y'all are still rocking. I'll come by for sure.
Great.
Hell yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on and doing
Dude,
this, brother.
This is
Hey,
awesome.
before we get out of here, though, I do got to tell you, man, "Give Heaven Some Hell." It's like a crazy special song for me. It was on repeat for me for about a week. Can't remember exactly when it was, but pretty recently, one of my best friends, Daniel Mickelson, passed away.
Rest
Oh,
in
wow.
peace.
And so, yeah, rest in peace, man. I love that kid so much. But as I was like, listening to that record, he passed, and then the next time I heard it, I got in the car, and it was just like, that's what I was playing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never been the same since, and it's just like a super like special record to me and a few of my buddies now, and it's just like
Thank you.
we really appreciate it.
That's
man.
awesome.
It's an unbelievable song.
Send his family and my love. And
Yeah, man.
And I
We
appreciate that,
appreciate it.
man. That's what it's all about,
You're
dude.
doing good
Yeah.
things, sir.
Thank you,
You're
man.
doing your fucking thing. That's fucking awesome to see. I know we got a lot of buddies. We share a lot of buddies, and they all say amazing things about you. So
Dude, well,
it's there's really no higher honor than that to me. You know what I mean? Like when your peers just fuck with you as a person. Like,
dude, 100%. That means more than anything,
it
man.
really does. It's better than any award on the wall. or anything,
100%.
but Let's keep the awards hanging up. We'll probably keep them coming for a while. It sounds like
see.
you're not planning on slowing down anytime soon.
No, I don't think so.
Well, fuck, man. We'll come see a show soon. Come catch you guys.
Please
Hopefully
do.
Come catch us somewhere. I'm sure our paths will cross, but I really appreciate you, sir.
Absolutely.
You're a legend.
My
Thank you,
man.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
It was great
Dude,
meeting you, brother. Yes, sir.
pleasure.
We'll get on the golf course soon, man.
Yeah,
Let's
we'll
do it.
set
Come
you
on.
up. We'll get you out there. That was great, man. Thank you.
Dude, absolutely, man.
Back is